Good evening. It is 6 o'clock.
Such hypocrisy and duplicity, Pharisaicism and politics. I am Renaldo McKenzie, and welcome to another episode of the Neoliberal Round podcast. Such hypocrisy and duplicity, Pharisaicism and politics. I am Renaldo McKenzie, and welcome to another episode of the Neoliberal Round podcast.
The Lord, you are on time. Thank you for that. You will get a credit. I will not forget this. I have all the recordings. I know who is here and who is not. You are on time. Deloy. That's good. That's a good attribute. Jason is here, so that's good. That's great. Students are coming in. We have a big class today. Last week was major, I believe. But I believe today we continue with major heavy stuff. Last week we looked at American politics. We even went as far as discussing the Constitution, which was a very good question, which I latched onto that this week. So I was very happy and proud that you guys brought my attention. But today we're going to be talking about Haiti, which is a case study that looks at strategy and American penetration in the world. But we have to look at Haiti because Haiti is the first Caribbean that got independence. Haiti is the first Black country that was formerly colonized by you that got independence. And if you watch the film on the Jacobins about Oliver Twist and how Toussaint and how they fought against France and Napoleon and secured the freedom. And I don't know if you guys got a chance to review the film or to watch the YouTube video of the interview. I believe probably for some of you it's quite revealing, and so some of you might have some questions. But Mr. Brian Concannon sent an email today with some resources which I read, quite revealing, that talks about 1991 to 1994 and Brian Concannon's work with Aristide to bring about democracy. And, when you are citizens, when you are people, you don't see what's going on in the background. You don't see the decision-making taking place. And that is why there is this big thing going on in terms of citizenship journalism. And then people are trying to regulate podcasts, regulate independent news sources. Because then you realize how connected many of these news people and historians and scientists, how these people in society, how people are connected and their connections to the news. And so and that is why I said to you, part of this class at the end of the day is not just to develop critical thinking and to how society works, look at what has dogged the Caribbean. And, when you look at how this class is being taught, when you look at the information I'm providing to you and how I'm teaching it, and how I'm teaching it systematically, and you really go deep into the materials I'm sharing with you and the people I'm bringing onto the class, you understand why. You know, I said to somebody today, somebody said to me, a friend of mine, the class hasn't started yet. I'm just rapping with you guys. Somebody said, Mr. Concannon will start at 6:30. But somebody said to me, Renaldo, why do you write so? It's so difficult to read your writing. Oh my God, your writing is so, all these highfalutin words or college words or whatever. And to me, they're very basic. Say, for example, I say communication is to make popular. What was the monopoly? And they would say, why do you have to say that? I'm like, that is very basic. But I said to you, the way in which people, you know, I said to you, education is important. And the kind of education that some people are exposed to will affect their ability to understand. But that was, so back in the days, that was okay. It's okay if some people didn't understand, because that's how you are tricked. That's how you are duped. I expose myself to the big words and to the little words. I said to you, I write several articles, and in it, I talk about theology, psychology, economics, Sigmund Freud and Marx and Kohlberg theory. And because when you start to study society is system driven. I said society is they make society so complex in order for you to understand, in order for you to make changes. You have to unpack all of that. I say to you, the Bible was written in Latin, but only a few people could read Latin. So you will have to rely on the priest or the nobleman to tell you. Slaves weren't allowed to read and write and to be literate. And once you started to, and then the Bible wasn't allowed to be translated. Why? And they come up with, they have to keep it pure. Because they have to keep it for the few, only the few, so that the few can continue their hegemony and their domination in the world. So that is why education is, the Bible says, because of a lack of knowledge, the people perish. And that is absolute, can I tell you, the Bible is powerful. It's all there. And I did a podcast recently talking about when it says, give us Barabbas, but away with Jesus, speaks to human nature. The Bible speaks to human nature. Give us Barabbas, but away with Jesus. And I say to you, I did a podcast recently where I'm saying, look at some of these people who were involved in January 6th insurrection. Or let's just talk about Jamaica and the Caribbean and the kind of politics, violent politics these politicians were involved in, but yet still we promoted these people. We promote, this is quite interesting, it's quite powerful. So it is very important that we appreciate knowledge, and you try, and don't dumb it down, because it's not true. I say to some people, when you finish, the people who Wall Street want to work for them are people who knows how to read and write equations and codes that can confuse people. Only them know it. Okay. So knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So expose yourself to knowledge. So when I talk about Caribbean thought, this class, Caribbean thought, it is about exposing us to information so that we can truly make decisions about the prosperity that has dogged our realities or created mixed realities. But I did quite a few reading surrounding the Haitian issue some time ago when I had Brian Concannon on the show. But in preparation for this lecture, did some more reading, and I was provided with much more insight. Insight about how Jamaica was part of that hegemony, how Jamaica was part of the bureaucracy in the 1990s, how some CARICOM countries were part of the bureaucracy that was facilitating the penetration of Haiti. and part of the narrative that created a facade of false truth around Bertrand Aristide. Quite interesting, man. Quite interesting and quite powerful. But I hope you guys have some questions for him today. I have some questions for him because I started looking at the GDP. Let me tell you, I learned something very powerful. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for it for later. Not right now. Not right now. I can't wait to get into this lecture today, man. I learned some things, guys. And let me see if I can bring it up real quick. Because I think I texted you guys that because we talk about the GDP. What's GDP? Gross domestic product of a country. Do you know that the gross domestic product of Haiti is higher than that of Jamaica and Bahamas? Do you know that, guys? In 2021, and I think I said that with you guys today. And by the way, I signed a petition, and you guys are welcome to sign the petition, but published for America. But I did sign the petition, and I did reach out to Andrew Holness, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, and I via Twitter, and I told him that I would like to set up a meeting between himself, IJDH, the Institute for Justice and Democracy, IJDH in Haiti, and the executive director, so that we can, because, you know, when you look at what's going on in Haiti now, and then you look at what happened in 1991 to 1990, it is identical, it's the same thing. That is why it is very important. You have to revisit the past so you don't make the same mistakes. And I'm learning that Prime Minister PJ Patterson and the people's, and in fact, I'm going to share a tweet. I'm going to share I was very involved. Oops, you cannot minimize when you're recording. Okay. I had a tweet earlier today, and if I could find that tweet, I said, I'd love to set up a meeting with Andrew Holness and Brian Concannon on the IJDH, on the Haitian crisis. I have read the archives, and I see where in 1994, we, Jamaica, may have overstepped. Now, as the JLP lead, will they make the mistakes as Patterson and the PNP on the Haiti? And I'm not trying to be political. It has nothing to do with I'm not trying to politicize the issue. And I'm not trying to do that. But we have to learn from the past. And when I read the letter, and by the way, Mr. Concannon is very important. He's a very important figure in terms of over the last several hundred decades trying to work for peace and democracy. And I was, and by the way, there is a signature. You can sign a petition that looks at the U.S. hands of Haiti. There's a petition, a movement where you can sign or get involved in this movement that speaks about the role of U.S. In terms of intervening in Haiti. And there is and we'll talk more about that later on when he comes on the show. And you can also advocate, lobby the Jamaican government in terms of, we need to know what's going on in Haiti, what's Jamaica's position in Haiti, okay? What are the Haitians saying? And as CARICOM members, it's not just the government that's part of CARICOM. We, the people, and I'm an American citizen now, but I'm part of the diaspora. So whatever happens in Jamaica, I have family in Jamaica, okay? So Jamaica is, and that's my heritage. So I am invested in what's going on there and in the Caribbean and what's going on in the world, okay? I'm invested in that. And so that's very important. If you are familiar with former President of Haiti, Bertrand Aristide, then you will understand how important Brian Concannon is when talking about Haiti. Brian is an American attorney who had been one of those helping Aristide restore democracy and law and order in Haiti back in 1991 to 1994, before he was assassinated. He will be presenting on the class later on. And I tweeted that earlier. And this is some of the news I was sharing with you guys. And if you have questions, you can share some of those. I hope you guys have some. I don't know what questions you guys may have for him today, but I'm looking forward to a powerful class. Now, but before we So those are some of the stuff we will be getting into today. Okay, we will definitely be getting into some of those today. But some of the questions I have for him, and I'll share that with you because I said to him, one of the questions I will ask is this. Haiti is one of the poorest countries in the world. It's one of the first colonies to get independence. But they are one of the poorest countries in the world. But in 2021, Bahamas' GDP was 11.21 billion, while Jamaica's was 14.66 billion. But Haiti's GDP was 20.94 billion. 20.94 billion. Okay? How is Haiti's GDP that high? And why is it that their reality is worse than, say, Bahamas or Jamaica? Of course, he did respond to the question, and he said, I think, of course, Haiti had a population of about 12 million. Jamaica's population is about 3 million. So, of course, the population they have, of course, Haiti should have a GDP that's higher than Jamaica. But when you delve into the numbers, that's still low when you think of 12 million. 3 million people produce 14.6 billion too. But I thought, my first assumption was that they didn't have any GDP, but they do. There is some billions of dollars, but where's the money? Haiti is, and I'm not even going to answer that. If I were to ask you, where is the money? Where is the money? But I want to get into the issue of inequality and poverty. Because you have wealthy people in Haiti. You have the privileged class in Haiti. Yes? So we will get into that today because I think that's part of the problem. Okay, how are you guys doing, guys? How's everybody? How is the week so far? Good evening, everyone. I've never been in diplomatic involved. I've never believed in it.
Good evening, sir.
That
has been good so
always
far for me.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. My week has been good so far.
That's good. That's good. That's Chantel. Mary, what's going on with you guys? How are you?
How was your week, sir?
Oh my God, I've had a rough month this month. But God is, let me tell you, I tweeted something. I don't know if you guys follow me, but if you guys follow me, I share my life on social media in a sense. And today, and I'm a man of the spirit. I'm a man of tremendous faith. And when I tell you I'm a man of faith, I'm not joking. I'm a man of faith. And in fact, I tweeted something today as we get ready to get to the class. And I tweeted this. We're going to pray before we start. I said, God is great. Here I am going through it today. But God steps in and saves the day. I can't wait to share this testimony of how God is intervening in my life. And where he is taking me, I was on my last. But what a powerful experience I had today. I am writing a book, Secrets to Unlocking Divine Intervention. And of course, those of us who know, I am actually writing a book. I'm writing several books. This second book is about to be published. And it's going to be co-authored by some famous guy. And and we're giving God thanks for what he's doing with that book. And the third book is it's different from the fourth. The fourth book is Secrets to Unlocking Divine Intervention. And the fifth book is God. And I've been praying some time ago. I said, God, give me content. Give me wisdom. Give me the words. Give me content, oh God. And last year, our podcast ended in the top 5. We beat out a lot of major news commentary channels on the podcast. In news commentary, we were top 5 in the world in terms of content. God is giving us content. You know what I mean? So, sometimes I'm so emotional right now when I just think about how God is great. I went to church on Sunday and I said, I can't go for church to miss me on Sunday. And it's like, I said, God wanted me to be at church on Sunday, a particular church. And I almost missed it. And I went and I got there. And the pastor preached. What a powerful sermon. Was it the most powerful sermon that I've heard in a long time. God was speaking directly to me. And he said, keep pressing, keep pushing. And let me tell you, I go through a lot. People don't know what I'm going through. I smile a lot. You know, people see me, they think everything is fine. I'm good because everything is fine. Because when you serve a God that and by the way, I tweeted something. I said, don't be afraid to promote the goodness of God, even when others doubt your experience. Even when others doubt your experience. That's what I said. Even when others doubt your experience, they can't speak for you, only for yourself. And that even in this, when I think about Caribbean thought and what I'm trying and what we do in Caribbean thought, and when we talk about Rex Nettleford, Rex Nettleford talks about identity, okay? An identity from without, an identity from within, and what is the Caribbean's identity. He talks about that, and if I have it, and hopefully I have a chance to talk about that in terms of identity and who you are. And I say to you, don't let anybody belittle your experience, okay? And some time ago, I shared on a podcast, some time ago, I remember I was an executive working as a chief planner for a company in New York. And I just knew that this is not where God wanted me. Because, some of us, we don't like to take risks. We like it, we don't want to take risks. We prefer staying in a 9-to-5 job, being eat, when God will have bigger stuff for us. But it's going to be a lot of work. When you have your own business, it's sacrifice, especially when you don't born in money. We are not from money, and I'm immigrant. I don't born in money, okay? And I tell that to people. You don't born in money, okay? Amazon, when Jeff Bezos started Amazon, he could start it and they believe he got $300,000 from his grandparents. I don't have $300,000 from anybody to give. So you have to be strategic. You have to be strategic. Yeah, and when I talk about strategy, you guys probably may not understand. And I'm going to I hope JTS develop a course in strategy. Okay? But I sat down and I opened up my laptop and I started praying. I was about to get ready to work. And I said, I just feel in my spirit, this is not where I'm supposed to be. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. Working a regular 9-to-5, but I was actually working 18 hours a day. And I said, God, let them fire me. And my mom said, I'm crazy to say that. Let them fire me. And let this happen, and let that happen, and let this happen. Let me get into Georgetown to do my doctorate, and I'll publish that first book. If I have to drive a cab on the side, I'll do it. But this is not where you want me to be. Let them fire me, oh God. I won't resign. I want them to fire me. So because if I resign, I won't get that lump sum. But if they fire me, then I will get the lump sum that they fired me. In 15 minutes, I got a phone call. I wasn't expecting no phone call. But in 15 minutes, I got a phone call and they terminated me. But everything that I prayed happened. But I said I wanted to do. Okay? I am giving God thanks today. And today something powerful happened. I won't share it. I won't have time for that right now. But it's a personal testimony that I just want to encourage you guys. Whatever you're going through in your life, I'm telling you, sometimes you might wonder, where is God? I'm praying and God, nothing is happening. But sometimes the answer is there. And sometimes the answer is there and they don't act. Because the answer was there today, but I was afraid. And God said, do what I tell you to do. Do it. Ask it. Share it. Do it. And I did it. And what a blessing today. I'm not going to share what it was, guys. But I'm giving God thanks for what he's doing in the Neoliberal Corporation, what he's doing in my life, and where he is taking me. And it's just a blessing. It's just a blessing, and I'm giving God thanks. I'm giving God thanks. And even now I pray as we get ready to begin class. And I say, Lord God, thank you for this opportunity to share with my students about some personal journeys and the opportunity to empower them and to share what I am learning. Help me not to be puffed up with knowledge, but help me to be humble oh God. And I think you take me, sometimes you tear people down to humble them because knowing what's coming next so that they don't be puffed up. Help us to be humble, oh God, and empower us to empower others. Share what we have with others, Lord God. Touch my students, bless them, give them a mind that is beyond none. Lord God, empower them with that critical thinking and with strategy. Grant them favor, Lord God. Help them to do well and bless them in their journeys in life. Help them to understand what you are doing in their lives, Lord God. Empower them in a profound way and help them to speak into other people's lives, not to keep the blessing for themselves. And as we get ready to engage and to wrap with Mr. Brian Concannon, I pray, Lord God, that you will help us to have an amazing time talking about Haiti and the experience of the Caribbean and learning about what we can do as people of the Caribbean to help our brothers and our sisters in Haiti. And so we are appreciative of this opportunity and this gentleman coming to be to share with us in this class. And I pray that you promote JTS and what we're doing, continue to bless the school financially and in many other ways. And Lord God, and the Neoliberal Corporation and what we are doing. We tell you thanks, oh God. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen and amen. And so Mr. Concannon is going to join us. So what's going to happen? The class, again, whenever I have a guest, I will finish the class early so that you guys can reflect on the lectures and probably formulate questions in your mind. So the lecture is supposed to be, we hope to have him for an hour and a half. So we hope to finish the class by at least 8 or 8:50, okay? Or 8, but no later than 8:30. And he will present and then we will ask him questions. Now, I would love, if you guys have questions, that'd be great. I would love for you to, I don't know if you guys have questions and you guys were able to familiarize yourself with the crisis, but Haiti is dealing with some of the same issues we're dealing with, the issue of deportation and deportees. And he just tweeted something about deportation. That is a very important. And so we want to get into that as well. The issue of Haiti, in terms of their GDP, the issue of what happened with Bertrand Aristide in 1994, and how Jamaica was involved, and what lessons we can learn, and what's happening now. Learn about the IJDH and some of their work to bring about justice in the world. So he will join us shortly, and you guys will have a chance to ask questions. Just before we get into the lecture, any questions, guys? By the way, can you see me? Because last week you couldn't see.
Yes, sir.
Is it okay this week?
Yes, sir. They're kind of bright, but we're seeing you.
All right, hold on. Let me fix that quickly.
Such hypocrisy and duplicity. Pharisaicism and politics. I am Renaldo, McKenzie, and welcome to another episode of the Neoliberal Round podcast.
Are you talking, sir? I'm not hearing you.
Concannon is here with us. Brian, welcome. Your mic is on mute, I think.
You might regret telling me that, but it's wonderful to see you around.
Hi. Welcome. It's good to have you, man. And you've been busy today. I've been busy. I've been reading a lot of articles and journals what's going on with Haiti and the work with and now I got it now. IJDH.
Exactly. Great.
Institute for Justice and Democracy in Haiti. And guys, oh, by the way, if you can let us see your screen, guys. And let me just do my official introduction. And so you guys have it. Yes, go ahead.
It is the same thing as last week, where you're the only person that is seeing the person. Nobody else can see others. So I'm not going to say as it was last week.
All right. What about now?
Yes, sir. Hold on, sir.
Give it 1 second because it was on focus mode, so I just fixed it.
Okay, sir.
You okay now? Okay, great. All right, but let me do the official introduction because Mr. Concannon is here with us, and we are so delighted that Brian could join us. And so let me just do the official welcome here. Now, today we have with us Brian Concannon. Brian Concannon is the executive director of the Institute for Justice and Democracy in Haiti, and it's an organization that is involved in promoting democracy and justice, and I'm going to say not just in Haiti, but across the world, especially those who are vulnerable. And so we're happy to have him with us. And some time ago, Mr. Concannon joined us for the Neoliberal Round podcast, and we were happy to have him. And by the way, he sent an email, and I was actually reading a dossier that he sent earlier, and I realized that Mr. Concannon was working in 1994 with former President of Haiti, Bertrand Aristide, in 1994, working to bring about justice in Haiti. And so I'm going to allow Mr. Concannon to introduce himself some more and to talk about the work that he does in Haiti. We have several questions for him about what's going on in Haiti today. But I said to the class earlier that while reading some articles, some archives and letters, we realized that Jamaica was very involved, was part of the bureaucracy in the 1990s, as it relates to what went on with Bertrand Aristide. And we don't want to make the same mistake. In 1994, it was the People's National Party that was in power. Today, the Jamaica Labour Party and Andrew Holness is in power. And it seems as if they are making the same mistake. When you read the letter that you sent me earlier, it is almost the same thing that's happening. Where people outside are making decisions for Haiti. But first, before we get into that, we want to welcome you, sir. Brian, welcome to the Caribbean Thought class and to the Jamaica Theological Seminary, one of the oldest seminaries in the Caribbean. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Renaldo. And it's a true honor to be joining the Caribbean Thought class. And I'm really looking forward to a discussion. So, I'll talk a little bit as I was asked, but what I'm really looking forward to is hearing what everybody in the class has to say and engaging in a conversation.
Yes.
So I'm a little bit quick about my own trajectory. So I'm right now I'm working for the Institute for Justice and Democracy in Haiti. IJDH is the acronym we use. I've spent the last 27 years working on Haiti. I first got to Haiti in 1995. At the time, I was looking to try to get into international human rights work, and Haiti was really the first opportunity that presented itself. I went there as part of the UN volunteer program, and I was a human rights observer, and our job was to go around and kind of take the pulse of what was going on. I monitored prisons, I monitored police stations, I monitored the court system, and we also had a great chance to talk to people in civil society, grassroots leaders, religious leaders, politicians, to find out what was happening. And we were there. This was just after democracy had been restored. So Haiti had a military dictatorship from 1991 to 1994. Democracy was restored, President Aristide, in 1994. And then it was, and then I got there a year later, and we were there to try to support this democratic transition. And one of the things that as we were talking to Haitians and asking them what was going on, they kept articulating that we don't need more reporting, which is what I was doing, was writing up reports. And they kept looking at me like, what good is this report? And I wasn't able to give them a good answer. And what they said they needed was to prosecute the criminals. And they said, look, the democracy's back. We've got we have our president, but what we really need is justice. And the UN, actually prosecuting the cases was too political for the UN. So we couldn't do that, even though most of my colleagues felt that's what we needed to do. So I left that and I joined this group of lawyers called the Bureau des Avocats Internationaux, in English, the International Lawyers Office. And what we were trying to do was to prosecute cases. That was kind of our short-term goal, to prosecute cases of political violence. But the long-term goal was to make the justice system accessible to the majority of Haitians who are poor. And we felt that, by getting the system to work, it could serve the poor. And traditionally, the justice system had been set up to whoever had the guns and the money. It was a very corrupt, elitist system. But we felt we can move these cases through where the victims were poor people, the perpetrators were powerful, and we can show that it can work against powerful people. And that will create a constituency, and you'll have the justice system that will move towards the justice system that Haitians deserve. We had some success. So I was in Haiti for 9 years. We got one exemplary case through. It's called the Rabateau Massacre case. Had some other smaller, promising cases. But in the big picture, it was actually 9 years of really impressive democratic development in Haiti. Haiti had its first changeover of power from one elected president to another. It had relatively regularly parliamentary elections. The justice system started working. Schools were built, hospitals were built, the economy got better. All across the board, Haiti showed that democracy worked. But unfortunately, starting around 2000, the powerful countries of the world, led by my own country, the United States, decided they didn't like the economic choices that Haitians were making. They felt that the government was playing too big a role in society. And this wasn't a question of the government nationalizing anything. It was not privatizing as quickly as the powers that be wanted it to. And it was insisting on spending too much money on education in a country where half of the kids, of school-age kids, didn't go to school. It was spending too much money on public health in a country that had by far the worst public health outcomes in the hemisphere. And as the United States and other countries lost patience with Haiti's government, we first put a development assistance embargo on Haiti. So the US stopped giving any money to the Haitian government. We also kept other people from doing it, including the EU, including the Inter-American Development Bank, including the World Bank. And those sanctions worked. I mean, very much weakened the Haitian government. And then at the same time, in addition to the sanctions, there were soldiers, former soldiers, training across the border from Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And in 2004, they invaded and started taking over quite a bit of Haiti. Eventually, on February 29th of 2004, well, in 6 weeks of kind of invading Haiti, the rebels had taken over most of the territory, but had not taken over Port-au-Prince, the largest city. And by most estimates, they didn't have a current path to be able to do that militarily. Then especially because the Haitian police had kind of had withdrawn back to Port-au-Prince to make the stand there. But what the U.S. did was force President Aristide onto a plane and then to exile. President Aristide was sent first to the Central African Republic on a plane that had come from Guantanamo Bay using a false flight plan. It landed in Haiti. President Aristide was forced on board, and then it went to the Central African Republic. After I was actually called because the U.S. said, oh, that's where he wanted to go, and we knew that wasn't true. I actually went to the Central African Republic, and I was the first person from outside the country to see him in exile, because I went there in part to break the story that he was not there. He was not there at his own will. After a week there, we finally got him sprung from the Central African Republic, and he came back. He came back to the Caribbean. He wasn't allowed back to Haiti. The U.S. would never allow that, but he was sent back. He was allowed to Jamaica, where he spent, I think it was about 6 weeks in Jamaica, and then he went to South Africa, where he remained until 2011 when he came back to Haiti. And one of the things that was kind of interesting, because I was involved in this time, and Renaldo was talking about this. I think you were, and it's hard to keep track of all the coups d'états in Haiti, but I think when you're talking about 1994, I think you meant 2000. Because there was a coup from 91 to 94 against Aristide, and there's this other one from 2004 to 2006. And CARICOM played a really important role in there, and especially Jamaica. First, they gave President Aristide. Okay.
I said 1994. I was in high school.
Okay.
So yes, it was 2004. The Aristide, and he was assassinated.
He was kidnapped. He was not assassinated. He's still alive, fortunately.
Okay. So I need to correct my reports. Okay, continue.
And everybody was terrified he was going to be assassinated. I mean, he survived many assassination attempts, but fortunately always survived. So he went to Jamaica, and when he got to Jamaica, the pressure put on Jamaica and other CARICOM countries was immense. I mean, I talked to people who talked about being called out of bed at 1 a.m. by the U.S. Secretary of State, yelling at them, telling them they had to get Aristide out of the region, that was just not acceptable. That it wasn't acceptable that Jamaica made a sovereign decision to allow an elected president of a neighboring country to stay in their country for safety. I mean, that was sort of the craziness. And there were threats of putting a travel warning on Jamaica and other countries, that rely to a large extent on tourism, and that would be hurt by a travel warning. And eventually, it was sort of this compromise work. President Aristide was given a welcome in South Africa, and he left Jamaica. But even for years after that, there was CARICOM was the only, for 2 years, CARICOM was the only organization that had a principled stand towards Haiti, because the coup d'etat obviously is an interruption in Haiti's democracy. And the OAS, which has a requirement that all of its member states be democratic, which they used to exclude Cuba. They used to several times they've tried to vote out Venezuela, saying that Venezuela was not democratic. Here you had a country where the president was exiled. The OAS did not say anything about that being an interruption in the democratic order. It was only CARICOM, which has the exact same language as OAS on a democratic requirement. They stood up and they said, Haiti is suspended from us because we are an organization of democracies, and this is clearly an interruption in the democratic order. CARICOM again came under immense pressure for doing that, but they also withstood that immense pressure, which is, I think, and this has never really been written about, but I think it was an absolutely courageous decision, and one that, that has very few parallels of countries being able to, to withstand the U.S. Pressure like that for 2 years. And then after 2 years, the coup d'etat was reversed. President Aristide wasn't allowed back, but there was elections were held for his successor, and you had a democratically elected successor. One thing I just kind of my path was when the coup d'etat happened. I've been living in Haiti for 9 years. I love living in Haiti. I love the work I was doing, but I made a determination that my place was no longer in Haiti, that it was back in the United States. Because if the United States and other powerful countries could wash away 9 years of really successful democratic progress because we didn't like Haiti's economic policies, that no progress in Haiti would ever be sustainable. So I felt my mission was to come back to the U.S. to bring Haitians' fight for sovereignty and democracy to the U.S. and other powerful countries, because that's where many decisions about Haitian democracy are made. And so that's what I've been doing for the last now 19 years. When you look at what's happening in Haiti, it's hard to say that we've been very successful. But I think that there has been a lot of progress in terms of developing a constituency for democracy in Haiti. And I'll actually have one example of this. I mean, I think that recently CARICOM was under immense pressure to lead an international intervention to Haiti that Haitians hated. And I think that CARICOM deserves credit for resisting that.
What's the latest with I know I was following that story, and CARICOM recently had a meeting. I don't remember where they had the meeting, but they recently had a meeting, and I think CARICOM was on the intervention force in Haiti was on the table, and I think they decided that they weren't going to send an intervention force, but I think several countries are still mulling over that.
That's correct. CARICOM said that you needed, they would not send, that any military intervention needed a broad consensus in Haitian society, which clearly doesn't have. And I think that was a very courageous position. I mean, the U.S. was really pushing CARICOM. Justin Trudeau came to the meeting in Kingston exactly to apply pressure for that to happen. And the CARICOM countries managed to resist that. Which I think is, a credit to them sticking to their principles.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to begin, but I know you guys will get a chance to ask Brian, Mr. Concannon, any question. But before I do that, I have a question for you, which I did indicate that I was going to ask you earlier. And I think the question is, just for this class, I studied economics as well. So I was looking at some data, and I saw that in 2021, Haiti is the first Black colony to get independence. And we in this class, we have been questioning whether or not Haiti is truly independent, because they turned around and paid France, was it $24 or $94 billion to recognize their independence? But which has held them down today, which we talked about how debt becomes the strategy to continue to keep some people down. But when you look at the GDP of Haiti in 2021, it was at 20.94 billion. Jamaica was about 15 billion, while in Bahamas it was about 11 billion. And I asked the question, what I thought that Haiti never had any GDP. But of course they have, they have a GDP in excess of 20 billion thereabout. But why is it that they have a GDP that's higher than Jamaica, but we thought that they were the poorest country? Now I have the answer, but I would love to have you respond.
Yeah, so I think the main thing is it's spread much thinner. So Jamaica, isn't the population Jamaica like a little bit under 3 million people?
3 million, yes.
So Haiti, it's over 12. And so you've got a little bit more money in Haiti total, but it's spread over 4 times as many people. And I think a second is that it's also in Haiti, it's not spread very evenly. And I'm forgetting the numbers, but there are some spectacularly wealthy people in Haiti. But then there's not much of a middle class, and everybody else is largely poor. So even though, of that $21 billion, and I don't know the numbers, but a big chunk of that is owned by a few wealthy families, and most Haitians don't get to share that. And I think, going back to your point about Haiti being the first Black country, I mean, that is why Haiti is so poor. So Haiti is by far the poorest country in the hemisphere. It's, there's only a few countries worldwide that have, if you take kind of GDP per capita as well as living standards, there's only a few countries below Haiti on that. And it's sad that that's happening in the middle of our hemisphere. And the reason is exactly because Haiti was the first country to be free. They've been punished. I mean, they became free by winning a slave revolt against Napoleon, the most powerful emperor of his time, in a world completely run by slave-owning countries. And that they could not allow Haiti to succeed. If they had allowed Haiti to succeed, Jamaica would have been independent a lot quicker. The whole idea of slavery was based on this ideology of white supremacy. And if Haiti had done well, that would have completely undermined the ideology. And so there was, and this isn't, something that we're reading from the tea leaves. This was explicit. I mean, this was explicit in policy by the US and European powers that they could not allow Haiti to be free because of what they called the contagion of emancipation, the contagion of freedom would spread to other places, which would cost the slave-owning countries money.
I have so many questions, but I know the students want to get into it because question that stems from that question, in terms of the unevenness in Haiti, I think you said over 50% of the population poor. And so you talk about when you look at the GDP, where is all that money? So they have $21 billion in GDP. And then the question I will ask next is is it the PHTK that is the ruling party in Haiti?
Yes.
And what are they? Are they in support of the prime minister who has been installed not by the people of Haiti, but the prime minister now is installed by a group of countries, correct?
Correct. And let me correct you. I mean, it's actually kind of a question. Is the PHTK in power? I mean, in a sense, nobody's in power in the traditional sense that you have, a prime minister that was elected by the parliament, because Haiti doesn't have a parliament. Haiti literally does not have one single elected official in office. Parliament ended. The last 9 senators, their seats became empty in January, but 2 years before that, most of the rest of Parliament seats became empty. So you really haven't had a functioning Parliament in 3 years now, a Parliament that could take a vote. And so the ministers and the prime minister are all just chosen through some extra constitutional process. But they are all people who came through the PHTK movement, and that's how they got there. The current prime minister, Ariel Henry, was appointed by a group of countries called the Core Group. It's led by the United States. It includes several European countries, the EU, the OAS. I don't think I can't remember if it has any Caribbean countries. But they were the ones who just literally issued a statement saying Ariel Henry gets to be prime minister. They weren't approving any Haitian process. Henry was nominated by President Moise, who the day before President Moise was assassinated, but he was never installed and never confirmed or went through any process. And what got him from this stage of being nominated by a deceased president to actually holding the reins of power was the Core Group recognizing that he was now in charge.
And there is a story in the legal news and commentary talking about reporting the rule of law in crisis, that on March 8th, 2023, that looks at the failure of the Organization of American States to apply the Inter-American Democratic Charter in Haiti. So I was reading that article today. It says the Organization of American States, the OAS, was presented with a crucial opportunity to reaffirm its commitment to democracy last month, as its permanent council turned its attention towards Haiti. The nation's current crisis is one that is directly connected to the actions taken by members of its ruling class, the PHTK, which for the past decade had systematically undermined the nation's democratic institutions to increase its own power. And these actions have culminated in one of Haiti's worst ever periods of instability. So I think that's one of the reasons why I asked about the PHTK. So affiliated with a ruling class. So the question would, are there some members in Haiti who are in support of this president and this prime minister and what's going on?
Yes, sure. The PHTK party and the way that they have ruled. So the party isn't really ideological. I mean,
Okay.
most people would place them towards the right side of the political spectrum, but in practice, I mean, they're not passing legislation, and so they're not, in many ways, they're not ideological in a traditional sense. The unifying, and if you look at some of the people that are part of it, they actually come from far left, far right, centrist, a whole range of parties. The unifying, if you do have an ideology, it's an ideology of plunder. What unifies PHTK is a common commitment of its leaders to steal money from the treasury and get it to the leaders and to a political machine. That's how it has.
Yes.
PHTK has completely infiltrated the civil service. All
Yes.
civil service jobs for almost 10 years now have had a political test to them. And so what happens is money gets taken from legitimate public activities, and it gets diverted to the PHTK and its political machine.
Great. Thank you so much. I have several questions I will not take over. I'm going to now allow the students to what questions do you guys have? And I will now invite you guys to ask questions of Mr. Brian. Any question for Brian? Anyone?
All right, good night, sir, and welcome to our Servant Talk class. We are happy to have you, and I hope we will learn a lot from you tonight. All right, so we know that Haiti got its independence in 1804 from the French, right? But what happened after Haiti gained their independence?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chantel, and thanks for the welcome. So when Haiti got its independence, it was an independent country run by self-emancipated slaves in a world run by slave owners. And so what happened was powers that be prevented it from being successful. Not a single country would recognize Haiti, not a single country. And it's obviously a great shame for my own country, the United States, which 25 years earlier had declared its independence and talked about all men are created equal, and saw itself as this beacon of democracy, especially in the Western Hemisphere. But of course, they meant by all men, they didn't mean what they meant all white men. And so the US, instead of embracing the second independent country in the hemisphere, it could not let that work because we had too many slaves. And so the US would not recognize Haiti. What France did, and so this independence that Renaldo was mentioning, the way that came about was France said Haiti declared its independence and beat Napoleon the old-fashioned way in battle. But France said, well, we don't recognize your independence. We still own you, individuals as well as the country, and we're going to come back and reinstitute slavery. And they said that after negotiating, they said, well, if you pay us off, we won't. And if you pay our plantation owners for what they lost, which includes their land, which was expropriated, but also include their losses of their slaves. So France was telling Haitian people, after you won your freedom through battle, through blood, through great sacrifice, we're going to make you pay for it financially as well. Haiti first resisted, and it resisted for close to 20 years. But in the end, Haiti felt it had no choice. Haiti was, no one would recognize the country. No one would give it loans. No one would give it any kind of help. And the French sent a squadron of warships off of Port-au-Prince Harbor, the capital, and were threatened to blow the capital up unless, and to come in and reinstitute slavery unless Haiti agreed to pay them off. So Haiti's government felt it had no choice but to sign on the dotted line, and it was this horrible contract that Haiti didn't finish paying off that debt until the 1940s. And what happened between 1823, when they started paying it off, and the 1940s, was that Haiti put all of its available money towards paying off the debt, rather than investing in education, in infrastructure, in industrialization, in anything else. They had to put all their money into paying off that debt. So Haiti really missed more than a century of economic and social development as a result of that debt, and which is exactly what the debt was supposed to do. I mean, the whole point was to not give Haiti a chance to become a prosperous example of what African people could do.
You know, as you mentioned that, you see what has there been any kind of recognition by the international community, such as the post-industrial countries, as it relates to what happened in 1804 in terms of not recognizing Haiti's independence? Have there been any kind of response from the international community?
So in 2004, Haiti's Independence Day is January 1st. And I got to Haiti in 1995. And the whole time from 1995 on, Haitians kept saying, are you going to be here for January 1, 2004? You know, the bicentennial of Haiti's independence. They felt that was a huge deal for them, but they just felt it was such an important date of the world. This was the beginning of emancipation. This was really the beginning of the human rights movement. And Haitians were so excited for, at least a decade that I saw before that. But before that, this is going to be a huge commemoration of freedom for the world.
Yes.
When that date happened, the only heads of state who came were I think it's the Prime Minister of the Bahamas. I think he's kind of counted as a head of state, and the President of South Africa. No other heads of state came because the United States and France told them they couldn't, and gave whatever carrots and sticks they needed to make sure that the world boycotted the celebration of freedom. Again, they don't want this example of independence to happen. And shortly thereafter was the coup d'etat. One of the reasons, and getting back to Chantel's question, sorry for making this a little bit of a long answer to it. The President Aristide in 2003 made a claim for the restitution of the debt that Haiti had to pay France. And the way he calculated it, it was $21 billion, as Renaldo mentioned. There's other different ways of calculating it that go up into 100 billion and more, which I think,
yes.
There's lots of people who are working on that to try to quantify that more exactly now. And I think in the next year or so, we're going to have some good numbers, but it's a lot of money, because it was a lot of money. And when Haiti asked for, the small end, the 21 billion, France helped the US overthrow the government. And just about a year ago, the New York Times did a report on this, and they actually got the French ambassador to admit that, yes, we overthrew Aristide to stop him from claiming justice for the independence debt.
Wow, this is breaking news. This is information that many people are not aware of. And in terms of, and you did some work in 1994 with Aristide, and the information that many of us that was coming out of Haiti was that, yes, Aristide was kidnapped, but that also there was dysfunction in Haiti, and that they are responsible for the dysfunction, and Aristide had something to do with the dysfunction, and many of them characterize him as a mouthpiece of the West. But then here you are saying that you are working with Mr. Jean-Bertrand Aristide on a case that allows the Haitian to recoup money from France. But wouldn't that have, and you're saying that would have had implications in the world, and you are saying that and that led to him being kidnapped.
Yeah, and before I answer that, I want to respond to Sean had put something in the chat about
yes,
the independence debt wasn't a negotiation; it was a stick up. I was trying to be a little bit cute on the words. I totally agree that Sean is more accurate than I am. I will
yeah.
That's for the record.
Go ahead, sorry.
But yeah, so Aristide, the powerful countries, and it's important to note that these are all countries that got their power as a result of the slave trade. And, so when you talk about, people talk about the international community with respect to Haiti, the ones who have the power are the US, France, and Britain, all countries, and, to a lesser extent, Spain, all countries that made their money through slavery. If you look at who the UN, who really runs the UN is the Security Council. And there's a Security Council, there's members who are there who have 2-year terms, but the real power of the Security Council is the 5 permanent members who all have a veto. And those are Russia, China, and 3 countries that made their money through the slave trade. So 60% of the permanent members of the Security Council, they got their seats through slavery. And, and that's something that people don't talk enough about. And, unfortunately, it's still true because they're still, and Haiti's a classic example, they are still practicing the exact same policies of exploiting countries that are predominantly Black and not allowing predominantly Black countries to be fully sovereign. Getting back to your point, Renaldo, about is Haiti independent? That's a good question. And, it's certainly not completely independent. And it's the same thing of Jamaica. It's the same thing for any country in the hemisphere. I mean, unfortunately, we have, and I'll look in the mirror, my country systematically limits the autonomy and sovereignty of every country in the Americas.
Wow. Sean, you are busy talking in the group. Sean, are you there, Sean? Sean, probably we lost him. He said, I beg to differ. That wasn't negotiation. That was a stick up. And you mentioned that already. Superpowers with big guns versus stick and stones. Quite. And it says, as it stands now, that's the most accurate calculation. Okay, great. He says he's here. That's fine. But thank you. Any more question? Because there's much more questions surrounding this issue regarding this case. You just said that as it relates to what you are doing with Mr. And how is Mr. Aristide doing now? I didn't realize you were still alive. How is Mr. Jean Bertrand Aristide? Where is he now?
So he came back. So he was kept in exile from 2004 to 2011. So 7 years. He's been back since 2011, but he lives a really limited existence. I mean, he almost never leaves his compound. He's got, kind of a house and an office and a little bit of property where he can walk around, but he almost never leaves. I mean, literally, there was a time I visited. He runs a law school, and I've been helping him build that. And it was one time a few years ago where I visited him, and he had not left the compound at all in a year.
But he's still kidnapped right now. It seemed like I'm sorry, but I'm being facetious.
He has very limited autonomy. I mean, he wants to be back in Haiti because that's where, that's his home, and that's where he's still able to do his work. And he's focusing on building this university, which is actually, it's been a miracle. I mean, he built it from nothing, literally, 2011. So in 12 years, it was built from nothing to now there's a medical school, there's a law school, there's a nursing school, I think there's an economics school, they're building a hospital, a teaching hospital. So he's doing, amazing work, but he's keeping a very low profile out of self-preservation.
Great. Okay, I'll follow up with that. If no one has that question regarding the case in terms of what's going on with the case now, because that's breaking news as well. But first, Richard is one of our professors, members of the faculty here at the Jamaica Theological Seminary, one of the head of the department. Richard, you have a question for Mr. Brian. Welcome, sir.
Hi, Renaldo.
Yes, Reverend Richard. Sorry about that. Welcome to the class, sir.
Hi, my brother. How you? Can you hear me?
You loud and clear.
Great. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Richard. Nice to meet you.
Same here, man. Listen, my question was triggered based on what you just said in light of the geopolitical realities of our region. and the role that the United States play in terms of its influence upon the region. So in light of that reality, how do you think CARICOM can treat with the realities now in Haiti in light of that understanding of its relationship with the superpowers? And CARICOM historically has dealt with Haiti from a place of rhetoric, and we do what we can in helping out our neighbor, but it is still under the guise of the geopolitical realities of the CARICOM's relationship with the United States. So, in light of what's going on there now, how can CARICOM respond in light of its own reality and relationship with the US?
Very good question.
Yeah, that's an excellent question, Richard.
Yes,
And
yes.
I'm probably not very well poised to answer it, just because I don't have a good understanding of where the lines are drawn that CARICOM can or cannot cross. But what I would say is that I think I would not question that every CARICOM government wants to help Haiti. And I think, where the differences are, as you set up, how much are they willing to, what kind of a cost are they willing to pay in terms of angering my country, in order to do that. I would, I think that, I think it was interesting. So that the communique at the end of the CARICOM meeting, it clearly reflected those political realities. It didn't say, no way, we're not going to send troops. And
Right.
No way do we not agree with it. So right now, there's this kind of trumped up unconstitutional accord that the U.S. is saying is the way forward in Haiti. And what CARICOM didn't say, it's a trumped up, completely unconstitutional accord. They said, we think the accord needs to have broader support in Haitian society, knowing it's not going to, but not being able to say, the truth. And the same thing about military intervention. I think it said, there needs to be a broader consensus before we can consider that. And again, knowing there's not going to be a broader consensus in Haiti. So, it's obviously using diplomatic language. And that's the only thing I would say to CARICOM, in terms of, realizing that it's my country, so country I'm paying taxes to, that is the real problem, is that, that CARICOM just needs to keep in mind that they're sticking to their principles is probably the best thing they can do for Haiti. That in terms of things like, development assistance, material goods, of course that's welcome, but, of course, CARICOM countries, have limited resources, and that kind of material help is going to help individuals, but it's not going to have a systemic effect. And that what does have a systemic effect is CARICOM sticking to its principles. And that was clearly, the coup d'etat in Haiti lasted about 2 years, and which is pretty short. And it would have been, I'm fairly confident it would have been longer without CARICOM. That CARICOM really played a vital role in getting democracy back on track. And it's crazy, CARICOM doesn't get credit for it. The US isn't going to give CARICOM credit. CARICOM doesn't want to take credit because then they'll get invaded. It's tricky where CARICOM gets no credit for doing these courageous things. But it's sort of, Haiti needs it to. Does that make sense as an answer?
Yeah, it sure does, Brian. Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
And thank you so much for that. And Chantel, I see your hand. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, sir. All right. So normally when it comes to natural disaster, it is normally hit with the worst cases, right? What resources do Haiti have, and what opportunity are there to reinvent Haiti?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And after the earthquake in 2010, everybody kept talking about build Haiti back better. And but what happened was they didn't change the systems of this kind of gross inequality of not, and everybody came in. When the earthquake happened, I went to this big meeting in New York at the UN, and it was, everybody said, yes, we've treated Haiti wrong. We haven't been empowering the people. We've only been dealing with elites. We haven't let Haitians make their own decisions. And we've been, we haven't done grassroots. We haven't facilitated kind of grassroots bottom-up development that, that would be sustainable. They recognized all of the mistakes. Then they went out and went down the exact same pathways that they'd always done. So there was this rhetorical recognition of past mistakes, but then they just went right back in and made the past mistakes again. I think, to me, the only way that that's ever going to change is that you get a government in Haiti that's democratic and that can insist that the international community do better, which is exactly what the Aristide administration did, which is exactly why it was kicked out. And which brings me to the bigger picture, and that's kind of one of the purposes of IJDH is that we're working for democracy to come back to Haiti. But but once that happens, that's not the end of the battle. Then we have to make sure that that democracy is respected, and that's again, I think, something that the whole world needs to do. That I think to help Haiti out. The other thing that and I think this is actually a question you raised. It is related to a question you raised earlier, Chantal.
Yes, sir.
Getting back to sort of the restitution of Haiti's debt. One of the things that we are starting to have conversations with is talking about how Haiti's restitution claim, which is a pretty strong legal claim, fits into the broader fight for reparations for all the harm that was done by slavery and the slave trade. And we think that there's a lot of really important connections. I think that Haiti's claim has some legal advantages that as a result of it, you sort of have this debt, and that gives some advantages if you're going to have a legal process. And we think that, if Haiti's restitution claim advances, that will open the door to a much broader claim for everybody who was, or the descendants of everybody who was hurt by the slave trade. And so we've been talking with people, and we're at the kind of preliminary stages about ways of, hey, how do we get Haiti more into the broader reparations movement, so Haiti can help the broader reparations movement by opening the door, and the broader reparations movement can help Haiti by helping get its democracy back, because Haiti's not going to be able to make a restitution claim unless it has a democratic government that is independent from the US and France.
I know several people have questions. I see Alicia, I see Jaloy, and I was looking at, I really want to talk to you some more about this case that started in 1994, because when Aristide was kidnapped, we thought that was the end of the case, but obviously they're still pursuing the case. You are still, IJDH is still working around this issue. And you said that probably a year from now, there will be some kind of determination. But I want to know, in terms of what is the timeline, what successes you think you're gonna, how successful you guys think how successful will you be, do you think you will be as it relates to the legal claim? What are some of the uphill battles or the challenges you will face? Are you nervous that what happened in 1994 can resurface again? And those are some, I really want to ask that question. And the last question, and then I'll have you guys answer. Have another student ask the question, is the IJDH is
I have a question as well. Huh?
Yeah, go ahead. But wait, this is important. The IJDH in Haiti is a US-based human rights non-profit organization established in 2004. It is a partnership of human rights advocates in Haiti and the US, dedicated to tackling the root causes of injustice that impacts human rights in Haiti. So this is the question. That is the root cause. So my question is, what do you see? What does the IJDH see as the root causes of injustice that has impacted basic human rights in Haiti? And you said that you've been having some problems. I think you alluded to that already, but just to be more targeted in this response, what has affected the IJDH's ability to become more successful in terms of guaranteeing those basic rights and so on? So that's the question.
Yeah, that's a good question. And in terms of what are the root causes, I mean, part of it is bad governance by Haitian leaders. I mean, the current government is supporting gangs. It's stealing billions of dollars from the government. It is arresting and torturing protesters. It's doing killing journalists. It's doing a lot of things that are creating a human rights issue. But there's on the bigger picture. So there's certainly, and that has happened in many times throughout Haiti's history, and we need to address. And our colleagues at the Bureau des Avocats Internationaux in Haiti, they are addressing the Haiti side of things. But from IJDH's perspective, you can't talk about just what's happening, decisions made in Haiti, because there are decisions made outside of Haiti that have a huge impact on human rights in Haiti. And that includes the whole independence debt, which for over a century prevented Haiti's government from being successful. It includes the UN peacekeeping mission that was there from 2004 to 2017 that unleashed a cholera epidemic in Haiti, was involved in persistent sexual exploitation and abuse, and did not leave the country better off than when it started. It includes international support for the coup d'etat in 2004. And so, all of these things, I mean, if you want to put it into a single bucket, it's a history of white supremacist treatment of Haiti by slave-owning countries and former slave-owning countries. And that's kind of what we are trying to get at. And the restitution claim is obviously part of that. The prospects for that are, right now, the main problem is there's nobody to make the claim. You need a sovereign Haitian government to make that claim. So when President Aristide was overthrown, within a week, and it was really, really quick, one of the first pronouncements that the illegal prime minister made was, oh yeah, we're not going to do that restitution thing. We don't believe in that. That was his job. And ever since then, and we're now getting, close to 20 years, you've never had a Haitian president who, most of them were appointed by the international community. One of them, President Préval, was elected, but he was kept weak enough, and there was enough of this example of what had happened to Aristide that he wasn't going to make that. So what you really need is an independent, sovereign democracy in Haiti that's going to make that claim. The second issue, the claim is strong in the sense that the facts are pretty clear or pretty easily to establish. And it's, I'm fairly confident that if we had a trial, that we'd be able to establish that France has the legal liability for it. The problem is right now is getting a place to have the trial. So, the international legal system was set up by former slave-owning countries, and it was not set up in a way that allowed countries like Haiti and Jamaica to make claims against them. And so right now, the main problem is jurisdiction. Where could Haiti get its day in court? The closest thing, what Haiti was looking to before, was the International Court of Justice. And the way, without getting into too many weeds, the International Court of Justice has compulsory jurisdiction over some matters. And if those matters come in, the country has to show up if you're a party to the court. But there's also, I think they call it voluntary jurisdiction. And in the case of Haiti suing France for the restitution, France had voluntary jurisdiction. So it could have said, no, we're not going to accept the court's jurisdiction on this. So, as a technical matter, it could have weaseled out, but it decided that weaseling out was too dangerous to its reputation, so that it would be easier just to overthrow Haiti's government. And so, in the end, I'm fairly confident if we could get into court, then the claim could prevail. But the issue is, it's hard to get into court, and even more important, the international community has prevented a government in Haiti that would make that claim. So, our kind of steps are get democracy back in Haiti, make the claim, and embarrass France into not weaseling out of jurisdiction.
Right.
Thank you so much. Question. Miss
I
Campbell,
have
you have
a question. Yes, please.
Yes, Miss Campbell, go ahead. And then
Right.
Alicia, and then Jaloy.
Haiti is on my heart, yes, sir. As
Yeah.
a matter of fact, I get very upset about the situation. And what upsets me, part of what upsets me is lack of information, about Haiti, where I am. So you're not hearing about Haiti, right? And so my question to you now has to do with, what do you think is the role of the diaspora in all this? Because there is a Haitian diaspora in Jamaica, right? You have persons of Haitian descent in Jamaica. You have persons of Haitian descent all over the world. What role can they play? Because I'm thinking that the governments of the world aren't doing much, right? But the governments of the world have constituents. They are supposed to be serving their people. So if the people have compassion towards Haiti, then and project that onto the governments, then that could have some effect. I don't know what you think about it. Let me hear your perspective on the matter.
Thank you so much, Miss Campbell. Miss Campbell is the head, she's my boss, the head of the department, humanities. Brian, yes.
Yeah, so I quick answer is I agree with you. That was very well said. I think that what we need is people who care about Haiti need to project that to their governments to get them to act. And that's kind of the whole theory of what IJDH is here for, especially in the United States. I think that, so I've been doing this in the US now for almost 20 years. There have been governments I voted for, governments I didn't vote for, but regardless of, neither of them is done particularly well by Haiti. And in part, it's, there's interests that are pushing it to do things that are not moving towards democracy and liberation for Haiti. And there's also people who don't care, or don't have enough information, or don't care, or don't have enough information. So our premise is that we can get better US policies by getting people informed and engaged. I completely agree. I've been hearing this for 20 years, that people don't know what's going on in Haiti. And that's because, that is, and it's especially hard when I hear it from someone like you, who's, well informed and in touch, and that's not an accident. The information is kept from you because they don't want people like you to engage on Haiti.
Well, I have somebody who, a friend who is a missionary in Haiti. So I was aware of what was happening, right? And I'm like, this is news, okay? Why is it that I'm hearing it from a friend only? Why am I not hearing it as a big thing on the news? That it upset me, sir.
That is true. I agree.
And so one of the reasons I raised the issue has to do with stereotyping, right? It's
Yeah.
easy for people to stereotype Haitians, okay? And therefore you're not going to get that addressed through governments, right? It has to be addressed through, in a sense, Haitians themselves. So Haitians who are part of communities,
Yes.
getting people to understand that their perception of Haiti is not what it should be, that sort of thing. Sorry to monopolize this thing.
No.
That's very well said. And I'll add, getting back to your point about the diaspora, one of the things we've been doing and is really helping the diaspora, the Haitian diaspora in the United States, have its voice heard. And that's been a struggle, for the same reasons of white supremacy that this policy is there. Haitians in the United States have been traditionally discriminated against. It's harder for them to get their voices heard. But as the community gets bigger and you have the children and the grandchildren of the people who have come, who are, their parents made great sacrifices, so they're able to get higher education. They're able to have more economic power. They're able to make more influence. They really have been having a pretty good impact on improving U.S. policy. We're obviously not, it hasn't been improved to an acceptable rate, but the diaspora community is really making an important contribution on making that happen. And I think Jamaica, I have a friend in Jamaica, her name is Mirta De Silme, and I know she's been doing, I know she does a lot of networking around Haiti, trying to get the word out and trying to engage with civil society actors about what's going on. But, it is hard. And especially when people in Jamaica, like people in the United States, are having to struggle across so many fronts, it's hard to get the message across. But that's one of the things that we try to do. We try to write. My colleague Mario Joseph wrote a letter to the CARICOM heads of state that he saw this as a letter to try to to try to convince CARICOM leadership, but also he hoped that it would get out to the general public to help inform the general public about what was going on. And so our website, I'll put a plug in for our website, which is
yes, please.
www.ijdh.org. We try to have good information up about Haiti. Renaldo is we try to put stuff up on social media. I know Renaldo's been doing it, hosting me on the podcast. And I hope I'm happy to talk about other people who can talk about Haiti to get them on the podcast.
Yes.
I think we all can play a part in spreading the word.
And that is why I've been encouraging people. Say, for example, I said for this class, the last class, we're going to do a course on podcasting. I said podcasting is citizenship journalism. That's the new journalism now, citizenship journalism. But and Miss Campbell said something that's quite powerful. I identify with what Miss Campbell is saying, because I said to people, even there's a young man that lives across the street from me, he's Haitian. I didn't even know that. And I said, I've been writing about Haiti. And then I interviewed somebody, but not many persons know about what's going on in Haiti. The president of JTS, Jamim Noelis, he's from Haiti. But I said to people, I did not know and Miss Campbell talks about stigma. And when I grew up in Jamaica in the 2000s, I'm telling you, some Jamaicans had some stigmas. Even here in the US, many Jamaicans, they don't want people to know that, dude, I am not Haitian, as if there's competition between Haiti and Jamaica, or some people say, I don't want them in my country. And then you were told that, they destroyed their country. The usual storyline the usual narrative that follows the storyline of why people aren't at certain levels. But I completely agree with Miss Campbell. The storylines people are not getting the information. Say, for example, what Aristide did. I only learned about it when I met you, Brian. That's when I first learned about this whole thing with what Aristide was trying to do in terms of the restitution claim from France. Okay, and what happened in 1804, and they turned around. We weren't provided with info. I did not know anything about this. And if I ask the students, they're going to have the same answer.
No, that story was suppressed. I mean, all the coverage on Haiti didn't mention that, and it just mentioned that, that the allegations that were totally unfounded, that Aristide was a thug or stealing money or other things, not that he was asking for justice, because they didn't want people like you to hear it, because they were afraid
Yes.
you could do something about it.
And just so you know, guys, this particular, I reached out to Mr. Brian about doing a show on a regular basis about Haiti, because trust me, a lot of people are still not aware of what's going on in Haiti. Now, I'm going to get to those 3 questions, Elise, Jaloy, and Mary, and then I will raise another issue, which is very important. But I think that there is a petition that I signed today. I just went on IJDH website and I saw that there was a petition advocating for Haiti. I read it and I signed it and I sent it back to the editor. And I also shared it with the world on Twitter, Facebook, and all my channels and feeds. And I will be doing that. So that's what we're doing, to get the word out there and bringing Mr. Brian to the class to let you guys know what's going on in Haiti, what we can do about it, and so on and so forth. But Alicia, you have a question? Go ahead. Alicia, your mic is on mute. Yes.
Oh, good night. Sorry about that.
Yes,
Good
please.
night, Mr. Brian and colleagues. Good night, sir. Okay, I have a lot of questions.
Alicia, you're breaking up.
Is an extremely poor. Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you now, but you were breaking up. You're
Hello?
okay
Now it's good.
You're good now.
Are you hearing me?
Yes. Yes, Alicia?
Okay, so
We're gonna have to mute you. Write your question.
Yeah, Alicia, if you put your question in the chat, I'll just look for it. Oh, I think she maybe your signal got cut. I'm not seeing her.
Yes, she's having some. Okay, so we probably will get Alicia, right? We're having problems hearing you. So write your question in the chat until we can establish connection. So let's go to Jaloy and then Mary. I haven't heard from Hanif.
I got bounced off. Are you hearing me now? Hello? Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, but you're still kind of having some static. Write your question in the chat and we will get.
Okay.
Okay, but Jaloy, go ahead.
So good night, colleagues. Good night, Mr. Brian. Good night, my lecturer, Mr. McKenzie.
My first time seeing you.
Yes, this is the face of
on...
Jaloy, right?
All right, okay. Welcome to the class. Yes, what's your question? Welcome.
Sir, yes. I am a huge sport fan. And
okay.
yes, I'm a huge sport fan, and I would appreciate it so much if I hear Mr. Brian say he is as well. So my question to you is, seeing that Haiti has been hit with a lot of misfortunes over the years, but something good has happened in the country of Haiti, and that is the Haiti national women's football team have qualified for their first ever FIFA World Cup. I want to ask, what is life like? What is life like after that historic feat, the qualification, and how has it transformed the lives of the Asian people since? And yeah, I'd like to know that.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I haven't been to Haiti. I live in the United States, and I wasn't in Haiti when it happened. I haven't been there since. So it's a little bit hard to tell, but certainly from people I've talked to, everybody was really excited about it. And it was one of the things that I was grateful for. I mean, it was obviously an amazing accomplishment that a country like Haiti could pull that off. But it was also, to me, it was just so nice for Haitians to have something that they could celebrate. I'm not sure it made kind of long-term changes other than giving, people who really needed a reason to be happy about something, a reason. The most of the players are not able to actually live in Haiti. They can't train in Haiti. It's just too dangerous. and they can't train at the level you need to do what they're doing in Haiti, which is sad, but it's obviously a huge source of national pride and happiness for many of the and Haiti, people in Haiti, it's a huge sports nation. I mean, they really love soccer or football, I should say, sorry.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal there. Also note, Renaldo, as a point of order, I just saw in the chat that Sean had a couple of questions that he put on.
Yes, Sean and Alicia. Yes. First, I have two questions. Who do you believe are responsible for the high gun trafficking and the social realities giving the financial position? And are some of the reports now exaggerated to dissuade help? Those are the questions. I know you posted something about gun trafficking, I think yesterday, but would you like to, can you respond to that?
Sure. In terms of who's responsible for the gun trafficking, so gangs in Haiti, there are long-term causes and short-term causes. The long-term causes, and I think that Jamaica and United States struggle with this. In anywhere that the government is not able to provide basic government services, including security, but also hospitals, economic development, things like that. It's almost inevitable that you're going to have gangs that are going to develop to fill the void, and that has certainly been happening since at least since 1986 in the fall of Duvalier, when Duvalier, because he was a dictator, was able to keep the gangs at a lower level. But that's when you get to a transition to a democracy where where the government is not able to provide basic government services, it's inevitable you're going to have some gang problem. Some governments have done better than others at reining the problem in. And the PHTK government, which has been in the last 10 years, they've been the worst in terms of reining the problem in. They've actually supported the gangs. It's widely believed in Haiti that the government is giving gangs money and guns. It's been pretty well established that the government has collaborated with gangs on attacks against opposition areas. So there's been these areas that the government didn't expect would vote for it if there was an election. So the government has worked with gangs to go in there to let the gangs take over those neighborhoods. So if there are elections, the government can control the vote there. And then in just the general corruption and the politicization of the whole system has limited the ability of the police and everybody else to serve as a deterrent to the gangs. And so I think that's the sort of how the gangs were created. In response to Sean's question about how the guns got there, obviously if you have gangs, you're going to get, that's creating the demand for guns, and it's creating, through their crime, they're creating the ability to buy them. Where the guns, how they actually get to Haiti, because Haiti's not producing any guns, they're largely getting to Haiti from the United States. And there's some of them are kind of sent through legal channels. There's guns that are going to the police, to security companies. No one knows for sure, but there's some expectation that some of those are being diverted to gangs. But it seems that the largest share of guns coming into Haiti are being smuggled, and that they're so there's a lot of, we're trying to apply pressure on the U.S. end to try to inspect the outgoing freight to Haiti better. There's been a lot of pressure being put on the Haitian government to do a better job. Unfortunately, that's actually kind of a difficult thing to do. The U.S. gun laws, as you may know, are extremely lax. So it's very easy to buy large amounts of guns. And then once you have that, it's kind of easy to slip it into Haiti. Because in Haiti, there's, I don't know the numbers, but probably in the thousands of people are regularly sending things back to their relatives in Haiti. And to go through everything that people send back, and there's just lots of trade going through, and to go look at every single boat for a gun is difficult to do. But we have been pressuring the U.S. to do more investigative work, to do more inspections, obviously pressuring the things at the Haitian end to be able to stop some of those. And in terms of, are the reports now exaggerated to dissuade help? I haven't really seen that.
Yeah.
I think that the media does have a bias towards sensationalism, but I just think in this case things are so bad. I'm not seeing that. There's certainly in the past there has been the media has exaggerated things to make it kind of more sensational, but I'm afraid I don't think that's happening now. There is, well, actually, I will say there is a reality. I mean, not everywhere is gang control, and I do hear from friends who are living in parts of the country where we are able to live a reasonably safe existence. Although I'll also say, I actually just talked to a friend last night, a Haitian who his hometown had been until recently type of place where people could live reasonably normal lives, but that's not the case anymore.
Thank you, Mary. And by the way, they had the drug for guns trade between Haiti and Jamaica. I think that was in the 2000s and the 90s. I don't know where that is now, but they used to have the
I think that's still happening.
Happening.
There's so many guns in Haiti, and that
yes,
I assume, and I don't really know much about Jamaican gun laws, but I assume you have fairly good controls on guns compared to the United States, and that Haiti's allowing an evasion of those controls.
Somebody had a follow-up question regarding what Sean asked about gun trade. Who are the great minds of what? Who is that? Somebody had a follow-up question, and then Mary, and then we wrap up we're going to wrap up in a couple of minutes. So if you have questions, please let's hurry up and get through them, because remember we're going to wrap up in a few minutes. Now, he says, sir, I have a follow-up question regarding what Sean asked about gun trade. Who are the great minds and influence in Haiti?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, Chantel. I think that one of the things to keep in mind, I talked a little bit about this. We talked about Haiti being one of the most unequal societies in the world, and the most unequal in the Americas by far. You have an elite that is, and it's mostly a few very wealthy families, and that they control large parts of the economy. They run the ports, they own the factories, they often are large landowners, and they don't get their family members elected president, but they get them elected senator, and they just buy off the president. And so they're kind of doing a lot of the controlling, and they also run gangs. They're respectable people in the sense that they live in nice houses, and they go to fancy restaurants, and they talk to diplomats, and but they're gangsters as well. I mean, they're running gangs through their factories or through some other organization as a way of extending both their political and their economic power.
Thank you so much. And Mary, I see your hand up. Your hand has been up for a while. Finally, we get to Mary. Mary, and then we wrap up. Mary. Mary?
I'm not hearing Mary, but Mary, I'll take a look at the chat if you want to
yes,
type it in the chat. I'm happy to look at that.
And Alicia, did you send your question in the chat?
Yeah.
Sir, are you hearing me now?
I am hearing you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, great. Okay, good night again. Before I get cut off, let me ask the question. The crisis that Haiti is facing, both criminal and financial crisis, do you think there's any way out of that crisis, or whatever position, the position they're in? Do you think there's a solution to this problem?
Yeah, I do, Mary, and thanks for being patient, and thanks for asking such a great question.
This is Alicia.
Oh, Alicia, sorry. Okay. Alicia. Well, thank you, Alicia, for asking such a great question. This may sound easy, but it's true, is that the solution is democracy. From 1994 until 2004, when Haiti was allowed to have a democracy, it worked. It wasn't perfect, but they were the struggles of democracy. They weren't the struggles of a dictatorship where where 60% of the country was controlled by gangs. And if the world were to again allow Haiti's democracy to function, these problems would not be erased. I mean, it's a poor country. It's going to remain that for a while anyway, but you would have reasonable stability and an opportunity to build prosperity. There's actually a group of Haitians that it's now a year and a half ago, they came up with, it's called the Montana Accord. And it was this accord that was pretty broad-based, and the people got together. And a lot of these people were people who had been fighting tooth and nail for 20 years because they had real differences over how you exercise power and differences over policy and differences over personalities. But 2 years ago, they came together and they said, our differences over policies are nothing if we don't have a democratic government. And so they said, we're going to put, all our differences aside, come together and come up for a roadmap for how we get our democracy back. And then we can go back to fighting. And they did it, and they came up with a realistic plan. The problem was that the U.S. vetoed it, and it failed. But I don't think that so that the Montana Accord, that process has lost momentum. I don't think it's currently viable, but I do think it's recoverable. I think that if the international community sat down and said, okay, we're going to stop propping up the current government, we're going to allow a Haitian-led solution to emerge, then I think one could emerge. And I think Haitians, we all hear, and this comes a little bit back to Erica's comment, we all hear about bad things in Haiti, and we think of Haiti as a place where people are always shooting each other and fighting. The fundamental truth is that Haiti is an incredibly consensus-based society. And I've seen people have this very constructive way and very sophisticated. And this is people, this is in the countryside where people have not had an opportunity to get an education. Many of them didn't have an opportunity to learn to read, but they're able to have really sophisticated, respectful conversations about controversial issues because it's their individual skill, but it's also, there's a very strong cultural tradition of coming together. I mean, that's how Haiti survived in a hostile world for 2 centuries. We can, if Haiti's allowed to access that, the people will be able to come up with a solution. The problem really is that the US and other powerful countries are not letting Haitians put their cultural consensus making to use.
Thank you so much. And just so you know, as we get ready to wrap up, you always want, anytime you get into something, you always want to ask the question, what can you do to bring about change? What responsibility do I have as an individual? What can I do? Okay. As we raise awareness in terms of as to what other persons are doing, the question is, what can we do? How can we get involved to help our brothers and our sisters in Haiti? So that's the question. And of course, I am sharing my screen. This is IJDH. And just so you know, their work is international. They are here in the US, but they have an office in Haiti as well. And so you can, and I'm reading it, it says, join IJDH Haiti Response Coalition and allies for a Haiti advocacy campaign to call on the US government to stop supporting Haiti's repressive and corrupt government so that a Haitian-led solution to the crisis can emerge. The IJDH has helped to prepare extensive talking points to explain the complexity of the current situation and the harmful, shameful, and imperialist nature of current US government policy. You can start by signing a petition calling on the US government to let Haitians control their own democracy. As an individual, you can sign the petition. As an organization, you can join the sign-on letter and you can take action with the toolkit. And this is what they're calling on the US to stop supporting Prime Minister Ariel Henry and the PHTK party and its political affiliates so that a Haitian solution, notice, a Haitian solution to the crisis can emerge, one that is truly Haitian
that is led and informed by the Haitian. And so the question is, what does that look like? So what does that look like, and how can that be done? What does that look like, and how can that be done in terms of, they say they're calling on us to stop supporting the US, calling on the US to stop supporting, so that Haitian solution to the crisis can emerge. And I know that I spoke with a Haitian young woman, older lady who lives here in the US, but went to Haiti, and she said that we need to come together as Haitians. We need to be more united. But what are some of the other ways? What is the solution that makes sense? That what are we supporting? What is it that we are supporting in terms of a solution that makes sense?
Yeah. So one of the things is that it's important to note that we need to support a Haitian process rather than specific results. There's a lot of good discussion about, well, international troops could do this, or they could help the police doing this. All those would be interesting things to do at another time, because it's only really a legitimate Haitian government that can make those decisions. And so it'd be very different. And this is kind of going back to your historical point. In 1994, there was an intervention that came to restore democracy. In 2004, there was another intervention that came to consolidate a coup d'etat. And it was a huge difference. The one that came to restore democracy, it worked restoring democracy. The one that came there to keep democracy out, that worked too. And if it came in now, it would be to keep democracy out. And so what needs to happen is the US and other countries need to let democracy come back to Haiti, and then the democratic government can say, we want a peacekeeping mission. We don't want a peacekeeping mission. We want this kind of aid. We don't want that kind of aid. And so that's really what we need to do, is to get the democratic process back on track. And I think the first thing, I think that CARICOM did quite a bit by refusing to participate in the intervention. I think that the next kind of battle is within the OAS has created this working group on Haiti, and there's already some troubling signs. Ronald Sanders, who's from Antigua, I believe, he was nominated by every CARICOM country except Haiti to lead it. Haiti vetoed him, and it was clear he was not going to be able to do anything, so he felt forced to resign. That's not a good sign. So there's going to be a fight within the OAS. I hope the CARICOM countries can really stand up for principles, realizing that that's not an easy thing to do. That's one place. In the United States, we're fighting hard to get our country, to try to turn our country around. We have some allies in Congress, and so we're working hard to try to get our government to have a better policy towards Haiti.
And we in Jamaica, I'm in the US, but those people but I still have friends in Jamaica, and those in the Caribbean, we have people who in our class and who are part of the seminary who lives all over the Caribbean. We have reach in here all over the Caribbean. So this is a good class. I'm so happy that you came and you shared. But Jason, I'm so sorry. Jason, your hand's been up. We're gonna end with Jason. Oh, Mary, do you still have your question, Mary? For some reason, I'm not hearing anyone.
Yes,
Jason,
yes, sir.
Go ahead, Jason.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
I have two questions. Jason Lawrence here. One of the questions is, in this catastrophe the people of Haiti is going through, sir, the innocent are more vulnerable to the war. Do you have a view that US want to colonize Haiti once in this time? The second question, do you think the Caribbean allies are doing enough based on what Haiti is going through to help them out their plight? Those are the two questions, sir.
Two very good questions. So I don't think the first question on whether the U.S. wants to colonize Haiti, I don't think in the sense that the U.S. wants to control Haiti. You know, for a time, the U.S. was there were efforts in the 19th century, or they were thinking about physically annexing the country. From 1914 to 1934, 1915 to 1934, the U.S. occupied Haiti. And even after that, well, no, not since then. But at this point, I don't think the U.S. wants to occupy Haiti. What I think it wants to do is to control it. And I think that the efforts, it can control it by putting its people it wants to control Haiti by putting people in government in Haiti who will do the U.S.'s bidding. This actually came out, there was a released diplomatic cable back in 2010 from the U.S. Embassy, where there was a president in place that we've been complaining about for he was trying to manipulate elections. And the U.S. Embassy cable admitted that, yes, he's trying to manipulate the elections, but he does what we tell him to, so we're going to keep supporting him. That kind of sums up U.S. policy, and that obviously needs to change. In terms of this CARICOM doing enough, I mean, Haitians would like CARICOM to do more, but I think you need to recognize, the CARICOM has done quite a bit. I think the recent statement saying it won't do the intervention and that it won't accept the unconstitutional accord, I think those are very good steps. And we also have to recognize that, that CARICOM countries are under a lot of pressure on this. So I guess I would just, my kind of answer to that overall is that I'd encourage people, following up on what Erica was saying, encourage everybody to contact your government and let them know that, that you feel that you want your country to stand up for Haiti. And Renaldo, do you have Mario's letter to CARICOM?
Yes, I do. I have yes, I do. You sent it to me. I do have Mario's letter to CARICOM, and it's the students did I think the students got a copy, access to it. It's on my website, and I put all of it up there for people to read and see.
Great.
But I realized that there are still people who haven't seen it, so I will send it around, circulate it to the seminary students and the staff, and let it become a big thing. And because a lot of people are still not aware in terms of what is going on in Haiti, in Jamaica. And I think I'm going to be working with the Neoliberal journalism staff to see what we could do and work with our surrogates to get this letter and what's going on in the work that Brian is doing and others are doing to bring about democracy and justice and to stabilize in the country. Definitely. So I will send it to you guys. Each of you will get a copy of the letter, okay? And the letter was written by Mario Joseph, who is the local attorney in
he's with the Bureau des Avocats Internationaux, which is our sister organization, and he's Haiti's most prominent human rights attorney. And I really encourage, it's not a long letter. I would encourage everybody to read it because it really, I guess it answers Jason's question from a Haitian perspective. It's a Haitian saying, this is what we want from CARICOM.
Yes. And let me see, open letter to CARICOM. I actually have it here. Oh, yes, the students have this. The students have this letter, and I'm reading it on April 24, 2019. Oh, no, this is something else.
No, this came out in October.
Oh, it's October. No, the students don't have this letter, actually. This is another open letter to Secretary General of CARICOM and CARICOM heads of state, dated July 8th, 2019. And this letter was written by Peg. Oh, this is some other letter. So no, this is not the one that we're talking about. But I have the letter and I will share it with you. But the initial letter says that, and let me share my screen so people in the world can see that. Let me share my screen. Let's see that here. Share. And good. You're seeing my screen. It's a letter that says, Dear Dr. Barnett, who at the time was the General Secretary of the Caribbean Community, we are writing you in relation to the armed international intervention in Haiti that has been requested by Dr. Ariel Henry, the de facto Prime Minister of Haiti,
seen anything on the screen, sir?
Sorry,
You hearing me now, sir? Are you hearing me,
Mary.
sir? Okay, you're hearing me now. Okay.
Wait.
When you are finished, I will make.
Okay, hold up.
Can I
Mary,
question now?
Mary. No. Mary,
Yes,
is that Mary?
Sir?
Okay, sorry about that. I am reading a letter that was sent. I'm reading.
Renaldo, if I can interrupt you, I'm really sorry, but time has flown. I actually need to leave.
All right, it is 8:05. Yes, so we will stop here. But Mary, any questions that you have, we can send them to me. I'll send them to Brian, right, Brian? And then thank you so much. We're gonna ask for a vote of thanks. Who's gonna do the vote of thanks? Chantel, are you here?
Yes, sir, I'm here. Yes, sir, I'm here.
Chantel is gonna do the vote of thanks, and then I will pray, and then we will wrap up the class. But Chantel.
Okay, sir. I'm going to again, Mr. Brian. I want to thank you for being in your class tonight. It was very. I know that all of us has learned something about what is happening in Haiti, and we do appreciate you coming and sharing with us what is happening and answering our questions. We want to thank you again, sir, for being here tonight, and we do wish you the best. And we hope that other Caribbean countries will also assist in Haiti in getting not to a place where they can actually help themselves and be like so. I want to thank you, sir, for being here tonight and also for being a part of our class. We really appreciate you and also great answers. And we did learn something tonight, sir. So have a good night, sir. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Chantel, for those kind words. And thank you, everybody, for a wonderful discussion. I really appreciate it, and I hope we can continue this.
Yeah, man. And just before you go, let's pray. Since we're at the seminary, we'd like to pray you out. Thank you, Lord God, for Brian, who came out of his busy schedule to share with us and to rap with us about what's going on with Haiti. May you continue to empower his agency and the work that they do. And may you help those who are involved in this Haitian situation to bring about resolution. These and other mercies we ask. Amen. Okay, thank you so much, Brian. And Brian, I will keep in touch, okay? We'll keep in touch. And, yeah, man, we will keep in touch and get this. Now we have a responsibility. People are saying they need to know more. People want to know more. And yes, people are hearing about the work you're doing. And we had over 3,000 or 2,000 viewers, and they're asking that they want more on what's going on in Haiti. So we have heard, and we will be doing some stuff with Brian soon. But thank you, Brian, and take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break, and when we come back, we will wrap up the class. But just I need 5 minutes break real quickly. I'm having a slight headache. So give me 5 minutes. I need just 5 minutes break, and then we wrap up when we come back. We will end at 8:15. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Check your chat here, Mr. McKenzie.
Oh, thank you. Yes. All right.
your name. In all the earth, in all the earth, in all the earth, in all the earth. Oh, Jesus is excellent. Is thy name. In all the earth. Oh, in all the earth, yea. Jesus, excellent is your name. In all the earth, Jesus is. In all the earth, Jesus, excellent is your name, yes, your name, your name. In all the earth, in all the earth, in all the earth, Jesus is excellent. That's your name, Lord. Oh, in the morning, excellent. In the evening, excellent. Jesus is excellent. Every day, give me Jesus. When you pray, blessings come down. When you pray, the victory in your head. When you pray, something happens. 'Cause Jesus, Jesus, is excellent is his name. Every day, yeah, is your name, your name. This is the Neoliberal Round podcast.
Sir, we're not hearing you.
Oh, so I know. We are back and we just wrap up we'll end in 5 minutes. But thank you guys for the questions. Thank you for participating. What are your thoughts on the presentation and what are your thoughts on what happened, transpired with Mr. Brian and what you have learned? How did you appreciate it? What are your thoughts? Oh, by the way, Miss Campbell sent an email. And by the way, if anybody wants to participate in this initiative, providing awareness and so on, there's a way you can get involved, and we are working on our side to get more involved in what's going on in Haiti and to promote more awareness among Caribbean countries. And that's where you guys can get involved by taking to social media and sharing information, retweeting stuff, following up with what's going on with our own local leaders, because Jamaica is on the forefront. It's one of the major countries in CARICOM. So yes, get involved, speak with your government, tweet, but also we are going to be doing a petition, and we would like you to share the petition with others. And when it's done, we will let you know how you can get involved. But for now, you can go to IJDH.org, and they have a petition. You can sign but I think the petition is for the US. We're working on creating one for CARICOM and one for CARICOM Nation, so that you can sign and share it with others. Also, have conversations in your churches, in your communities about what's going on in Haiti, because I'm telling you, we are academics and we're exposed to collegiate training and knowledge, but we still don't know everything. I have years of college education, and I'm still learning some of the stuff in terms of what's going on in Haiti. As I said, there is information and there is information. And I said to you, because of a lack of knowledge, people perish. When you know, then you can help your brothers and your sisters. When you are the Good Samaritan and you are aware that your brother is in need of help, will you not turn to that Good Samaritan, as a Good Samaritan, to help your brother who is on the roadside? But you have to first be aware. So we are working against people who are hiding the information and the truth. And I talked to you some time ago. We talked in a class. We looked at cinema and globalization and the importance of cinema in helping to unearth truth, in helping to unveil what was hidden. And I tell you that documentary film is revolutionary, because it uses violence to put before you what's going on in society. Okay, so as soon as we're going to publish this film, I have some podcasts, I have some articles, writings. Get involved, share articles, share what we're doing, the information that you have, share it with the world, and so on. Let people know what's going on and apply pressure. And as soon as we get information as to a petition where we can sign and get involved, we will do so. You can donate to IJDH and what they're doing, and you can also just share the information. That's even more powerful. Sharing the information, what you know, that's powerful. That's one of the ways you can get involved. Okay, write about these things and so on, and that's what I am doing. The discussion was thank you so much, Mary. Mary, he did speak. Mary, yes, go ahead, Mary. You have some insights.
Sir, I don't know if you're hearing me.
I am.
You're hearing me now, sir?
Yes, you're good.
Yes, sir. Mr. Brian touched on some very strong points. And I wanted to get some clarity. He touched on that during the war, the revolt with Haiti and France, he mentioned that a lot of blood was shed. So I want to get clarity on this debt that he said that Haiti is paying off to get their independence. So I want to know if it's because of the war and these people were killed, why they are being punished, why Haiti are being punished, why they have to be pay back this debt now for their independence.
Well, of course, he talked about the collusion. He talked about the narrative. He talked about the fact that, Black people weren't supposed to, they wanted to promote the narrative that, Black people not supposed to have their own country and they're not supposed to be prosperous. That threatened,
yes.
That threatened European and post-industrial dominance in the world. And Haiti, they've already paid it off. They've already paid the debt. The debt is paid. They paid it. But but now in 2004, or between 2001 or was it 2004? I think sometime 2004, whatever the case might be, we know Jean Bertrand Aristide put together a case trying to recoup some of the money. And of course, France already admitted that, yes, we should not have done that. It was illegal. So we already have France or the ambassador saying that, yes, we did that, which was illegal. It should not have been done. But in other words, Haiti had to pay billions of dollars to France in order that their independence could be recognized. Because the independence was not recognized, then they could not operate as a country in terms of they couldn't get loans and all of that. So they decided that, okay, fine, we're gonna have to pay it. Because what we had said is that why did they pay? But they felt as though their hands were tied. They had to pay this billions of dollars because they were not able to. They weren't able to trade with other countries. They weren't able to get loans and so on. So that affected them. So because they weren't recognized as a free, independent country, and I'm talking about the international community. They were guilty of this crime. They were guilty of this crime as well, the international community, of not and and just so you know, you say, for example, some countries have a way of big countries have a way of putting embargoes on other countries. Putting embargoes. So if you trade with them, then we won't, if you trade with them, then we're going to block you, or you can't trade with us, and so on and so forth. But you talk about the strategies where people try, the strategy that certain countries use to keep other countries down. Say, for example, giving people international recognition. And if you don't get international recognition, then dog eat your supper, as we say in Jamaica.
And sir, you mentioned about white supremacy.
Yeah.
So you see another black country, the white keeping another black country under their feet.
Yes. But we will stop here today, and next week we will put into perspective what we heard from Mr. Castro and what we heard here tonight. And you guys supposed to be interacting with the presentations last week and this
Very
week.
interested, sir. I learned a lot.
Please
let out some real secret. Yeah.
Well, this is the homework. This is your assignment. Write about what you have heard today. Write about how does it impact you? What have you learned? And what will you do to help to bring about change in Haiti? That's what I will, okay? How were you impacted by the presentation today and what you've learned about Haiti? And what can we do and you do to help to bring about change based on what you're hearing? So, or maybe you could conclude by saying, there's nothing that we can do, or so, but that's what I would like you to do. What are your feelings in terms of what did you learn? What new, any information that you learned, you did discover? Any information you heard today that caused you to change your mind about Haiti and what's going on in Haiti? And what are some of the things or ways that you think you can get involved in helping to bring about change in Haiti? Okay, it could mean what you can do in even in your own country. What we can do as to pressure our own Jamaica local government in terms of getting involved and so on. So that's what I would love for you guys to do for the homework for this week. Write about the presentation this week and how it affected you, or whether or not if it affected you. Did it change your mind about anything? Did it change your mind and position about Haiti? Did you have any stigma, any stereotype about Haiti, and so on and so forth? And what can you do to bring about change and what's going on in Haiti from where you sit in Jamaica? Okay, so that's what, and you will have, I'm going to ask you guys to do. Now, I will be sending out several emails this week, so watch the emails in terms of, I will be marking all your papers, those who have submitted, and will be posting up grades on the platform this week. I will start doing that. As of this week, I will submit those persons who have given me paperwork and I've graded you, and if I haven't graded your work, I start posting up grades. So far, everyone has done, so far, so good. Your participation in the class, and the work that you are submitting, that's good. You guys are doing some good work. Keep it up. And just so you know that as you approach that the paper, you guys should at least start working on your papers. I want to spend some time this week. I want each of the group to meet with me this week, starting on Tuesday. So Tuesday I meet one group. I could meet two groups on Tuesday, just for 15 minutes, just to talk with you via Zoom, or we could talk on WhatsApp with the video thingy. But I would like, and I work with Chantel to arrange this, but I want to meet with each group this week in your groups. Some on Tuesday, between Tuesday and Thursday, just to see where you are in terms of the questions you're going to be, research paper question you're going to be tackling, and where you are and and if you need any kind of direction or help with that. That is so that we will. So next week, I want to spend some time with you guys next week in your groups before class on Friday. Next week, Friday, we will be watching the film on corruption. We will have a lecture from Reverend Richard Beckford, Caribbean Theology. And then the following week, we're going to have a lecture from Reverend Hewitt Holmes from the University from Toronto. He's Jamaican, but he pastors a church in Toronto. He's going to be talking about sexual identity, and we'll also look at Rex Nettleford's statement and so on, and kind of try to bring the class to a close. But there are two very important topics we're going to have to look at: corruption, Caribbean theology, and sexual identity. And then the last class, before the exam class, I want us to do an introduction in podcasting, or digital content, something to that effect that speaks to podcasting or digital technology in terms of expressing ideas and thoughts, because the new journalism now is podcasting and independent news media, and I want you guys to at least get acclimated to that, since we're looking at Caribbean thought, but expressing that thought. We use music and dance and stuff. But what about 21st century technology and digital technology and so on? And what are the tools that we have available in the Caribbean to promote expression and so on? And how can we do that? So I would love to at least an hour and a half to introduce you guys to podcasting and talk to you about what are the benefits of that and where it leads and so on and so forth. And you can start your own shows. And trust me, when I start to talk to you about what you can do with podcasts and how easy it is for you and then you guys, and then I leave you to do your own, you are going to be amazed by what you can do. So I'm looking forward to that last class before the exam class. The last class before the exam class. Again, we will do that. We will expose you to that, okay? So thank you guys. You guys were great. And I wish you all the best. Any question before we leave? We wrap up. Any question from anyone? No question. Okay. Well, that's about it. So remember, next week, between Tuesday and Thursday, I meet with each of the groups for 15 to 30 minutes. And the assignment is that you write about, you were supposed to give me an assignment for last week when John Castro presented. So this week, and so you guys have that to give me for the assignment, and for next week's assignment, as it relates, for you to talk about what happened today. How did this presentation affect you? What changed? What didn't change? And what will you do to bring about change in Haiti? What can we do? Okay, so that's the assignment for next week. 1 to 2 pages. Okay, you can do it as you can do it. I like to do in the group work, so do it as a group work. No, actually, this one you can do individually. No, do it as a group. Do it as a group. Okay. So if you do it as a group, then you can do at least 3 pages, and everyone should participate in the group. At least everyone in the group should get involved and participate in this. Okay. But you guys have been doing so well, and the papers are improved. The papers, you guys are doing much better on the assignments, and I like that. Okay. All right. So take care. And this, by the way, I will publish this as a podcast in audio and video, and so you have it available to watch again, so you guys can watch it again, and then you can do your summary. Okay, take care. And for those of us who are listening in delayed, thank you for listening to another episode of the Neoliberal Round by Renaldo McKenzie and the Neoliberal Round podcast. And just so you know, support the Jamaica Theological Seminary and what they are doing to promote minds, international minds, To serve the world today, to solve tomorrow's challenges. You can donate, you can visit the Jamaica Theological Seminary by going to jts.edu.jm. Okay? And again, you can visit the Neoliberal by going to theneoliberal.com. Support us at anchor.fm/theneoliberal/support. Walk good and take care. Good night.